Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha. I think it's been a couple of weeks since we've actually done an episode. I
Two
don't think we
weeks.
2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since we've done
The
an
last
episode.
two.
That's
Yeah.
that is crazy. That is crazy. 2 weeks since we've done an episode. Um, so welcome, everyone, to the triumphant return of Apocrypha. Mystic is running from the cops, hence the reason why he's in his I don't know what that is. Um
In what?
it, that's not the Tesla, is it? No.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, he's running from the cops in his Tesla because he knows that Republican police officers won't bother him in a Nazi's car. So,
And we have a 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds.
so
I didn't say do it. But yes,
just
we're
saying
we're
hi, I'm
unfortunate.
driving, but I'm listening. The guy literally
Yeah.
sitting next to Mystic Rook.
Yeah. Let's be very clear. The Tesla is currently driving, but Brad is monitoring of the driving.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah. But I am not.
So that was just some dark political humor. I figured, you know, Mystic and Rook would appreciate that.
Just move it like right here, my light.
Right. So
All
yeah,
right.
it's been 2 weeks since we've done an episode. First week was because we had some stuff going on over here, Dyra and I, and then the second week, can't remember what happened last week. I can't remember, but yeah, we took last week off too. So can't do 3 weeks in a row because that's just you. Um, you know. Uh,
Agreed.
anyway, so the entertaining part for this evening, the most entertaining thing that's going to happen this evening is watching Mystic try to do a tarot read while holding a light and a phone or laptop or iPad or whatever the hell it is that he's on. Um, you know.
I need it right there. That's perfect. Ooh, I look old.
So that's going to
Okay.
be the most entertaining thing for watching.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, right. So speaking of which, whip your deck out. Let's see it. What you got?
So this week we are going to use and see, Brad, I told you as soon as we passed Popeyes I'd have 4 bars. Um, we are going to use the let me just get the full name of it because I don't want to mess it up. It is a beautiful deck. It's called the Oracle of Many Paths by James Eads. You guys have definitely, I'm sure, heard me before talk about James Eads, my favorite tarot creator. He has the Prisma Visions, Cosmo Visions, Light Visions, a whole bunch of Lenormand decks and the green glyphs, the whole set of decks called the green glyphs. Um, the visions, tarots, and oracles that he does are the ones that you can lay the pip cards out side by side, and they're all a flowing story throughout all of them, and they have this kind of watercolor feel to them, but it's just good cards and they're easy to read. And this one is an oracle deck, but it is a tarot deck too, which is really cool. It is 80 cards. So 78 cards are traditional tarot plus 2 extra cards, which I really like. I can't remember what they're called. I think it's the Unwoven Path, might be one of the extra cards. And then while he does follow the tarot kind of imagery in some of them, he doesn't name them. He only numbers them in this deck because his idea was if you want to read it tarot, read it tarot. But if you want to read it oracle, he didn't want to give you any input into what it was. He did make it whatever you want, which I thought was really cool to have a tarot deck that literally can do both at the same time, which I've never seen before. We've seen non-traditional decks, right, but not one that's literally meant to be an oracle and a tarot deck at the same time. So it's really cool, and it's nice to have an oracle deck that has 80 cards in it because most of them have like 30, and that gets annoying. But they are not reversible, but it's still a really cool back. And there's these are foil. They have a greenish foil to them, but gold. Was that inlay? Maybe I don't know what you call that. But every single card has this, and you can like it's tactile. It's really pretty and really nice. So really great card stock. And they're borderless, of course, which I love. So our first card that we have for today is a Page of Pentacles. Sorry, my hand's in the way. I want to switch here so you can see it without the light. But what you really kind of represent here or see here is that you've got what does it look like at the underground? You've got the field, the hill, and then you've got the above ground, right? So there's a connection here in this coming up energy that is to pay attention to what grounds us and not be just as simple as going out and grounding yourself, right? This isn't one of those cards like, oh, you need to ground yourself. It's just really a reminder to really take it all in. Allow yourself to be fully connected and fully aware. Ooh, that was bouncy. Jigglypuffs. Um, but really connect. You know, when we talk about grounding, we obviously we were thinking psychological grounding, right? We're trying to connect back to nature and connect back to what holds us here on earth, and that kind of gives us clarity, because usually if we want grounding, we're often feeling like we're too much air, we're too high, we're too up and stuff. We need to come back down. This card is that reminder that you're not separating from anything else when you ground. You're just remembering where your feet are and that there's something underneath your feet. And knowing that there's something underneath your feet grounds you enough so that you can do the other things that you need to do. So really pay attention this week to real grounding, not just, oh, I need to connect to nature, like real, true mindfulness and grounding, because if you don't, we're going to have this situation where things are going to get out of hand. The next card is the Knight of Pentacles. So in this particular card, and again, remember, this is the Oracle of Many Paths. So the idea is, in this card, there's a path that goes right to this little hearth castle, right? This little whatever you want to call that igloo-looking thing in the middle of a field. But there's a path directly to it, and it's a door that you can open. But maybe you're not ready yet. That's why there's another path that goes right around it. There's a path behind it, because you have choices. When we're looking at the energy this week and everything that's going on, it's going to come apparent the next card. You really have to pay attention to the idea that you're not being forced to do anything. You have a choice to make. I do believe sincerely that when you are making choices, even if they feel like you might have made the wrong choice, once you make it, it was the choice that you were supposed to make. So just be aware that in this whole energy of needing to ground and having all these things going for us, we need to make sure that we are making choices and that we're aware of our choices and that we're following through with them. And last, this would be the Two of Swords here. And the Two of Swords is all about making decisions. And the Two of Swords shows up, it says, we got to make a decision this week. There's no room for wishy-washy. There's no room for partial. Uh, there's no room for, better watch out, this road is weird. There's no room for, you know, I don't know if I should do that, or, oh, I chose this, but I really should have done the other thing. Just fucking choose it. Don't wishy-washy. Don't go back and forth about something. Just make the decision you need to make to do what you need to do, and don't change it, because when you change it, that's when things get confusing and messed up. So to recap, the energy that's coming up in the next week that we need to be attention to is not false grounding, but real, true grounding and reconnecting with the things around us so that we can understand how connected we are. And then making sure that when we make decisions, that we make true decisions, and that we really understand that going back and forth is going to give us a bad outcome. Whichever thing you decide to do, it's fine. You just have to decide it. You can't keep changing your mind, because you're going to mess yourself up. Good luck.
Yes. Well, that was good, man. That was good.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up. Reminds me of that guy on TikTok that like he does like these recipes and he's like this is how you do this. Don't fuck it up. um so yeah, so a few announcements before we jump in the topic. So Hearth meetings are every week now. So for those that don't know, Hearth is free. It's 100% free. It's open to anyone that wants to join it. Essentially, it's just kind of like a sit down kind of meeting. Because I was sitting and I was thinking, right? A lot of people that get help in like things like NAAA stuff like that. They understand kind of like where their problem lies, right? Like they've got a problem with drugs or they've got a problem with alcohol or whatever. And one of the things that I've always run into, me personally, is I got a problem with a lot of things. I just don't know what the fuck they are, but I know there's a problem, right? And so I wanted to make something that allowed people to kind of come together, talk about different topics. Like you don't have to be in any type of recovery or anything like that, but I wanted it to be something that could help people identify, issues or problems and things that that they're dealing with by listening to other people speak. There are no leaders in the meeting. There are no, you know what I mean? It's everybody in the meeting comes in the meeting as an equal, and everyone speaks from their own experience. Nobody provides advice, right? And it's been regular. We started out every other week, and now we're doing it every week. So every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, there's the Hearth meetings. So if you guys are looking for that, join the Discord. Those meetings are in the Discord. And yeah, it's something I'm proud of, and I enjoy being a part of. So it's myself and Dyra, and you have no obligation to show up. Like if you want to show up to one and then never show up again, there's no obligation to come or anything like that. They're completely confidential. There's no recording, so yeah. That's a thing. And Dyra and I are revamping and relaunching under another name for Witch Skills. So I don't know if you guys remember Witch Skills. Something that Dyra, myself, and Mystic, and a couple of other people were putting together, and then just went to the back burner and kind of disappeared a little bit. But now that things are kind of what?
Before you go any further, I didn't hear what time. Sorry, what time was the Hearth meeting?
The Hearth meetings are at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say it, but I think I just missed it.
6:30 p.m. Central Standard.
Got it.
Okay, so, and that's just that half an hour is because I finish work at 6, so that gives me a half an hour to get ready for it. So, Witch Skills is kind of coming back, but we did some deep thinking, and though we do like the Witch Skills name, it felt too playful, and so we decided on Collegium Arcanum, and we've looked it up. It is an available business, globally available business name. And so, yes, Collegium Arcanum will be coming soon. The first thing that we're going to throw up there is a free left-hand path course that her and I are putting together. It's going to be free. And so y'all can take advantage of that. Back burner is an understatement. Yeah, this is true. This is true. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to bring it back. And also, like, we're changing the way that we are thinking about it, because yes, we're still going to maintain the idea of, we want it to be kind of like a long form academy. So like, we want people to be able to take these courses, programs, whatever you want to call them, that are like, 4 years long, to kind of understand like the full spectrum of everything that they're getting into. But we decided that it is also pertinent for us to provide something that is accessible to everybody. So those aspects of certain programs will be broken down into smaller bite-sized chunks that can go from 1 to 6 weeks to 4 to 6 months, stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that. I'm still working on the website, and we're still working on the content. I think one of the first paid courses to probably go up is going to be Mystic's tarot course, because
I'll
he
be
did
right back.
he did an entire tarot course. That's pretty much ready to go. So that's going to be probably one of the first paid things to go up there. And I think that's it. I think that's everything for announcements. I can't think of anything else. Sorry, I just had to ask if I was missing anything. Yeah. Now, as for the topic this evening, okay, so the title, as you guys can see, is The Fragile Ego in the Age of WitchTok, Why Everything Feels Like an Attack. This topic, I mean, I've discussed something similar in Satan and Coffee recently, and this is inspired by a situation that Dyra and I had found ourselves in, where she was invited to collab with someone, and they did their thing, and they sat down and they talked for like an hour or so, and everything went great and stuff like that. And then randomly, a couple hours later, we get a message from this person saying that whether or not we're Trump supporters. It's like, wait, what? And all of this came from the content that I did, the video that I did with J.S. Garrett. So the funny thing about it was a question for us based on something that someone else had said, answering a question that came from my chat. What was that? And so it was kind of crazy. And so that's like the surface level of it, right? But it made me start thinking the situation, right, on a deeper level, right? And it's one of these things that, like, I think to kind of open up the topic, I look at it, it's almost like it's like trauma responses versus kind of entitlement, right? So a trauma response, like having a trauma response, I mean, it's a real thing, right? Like, I have them. I think a lot of us do. But the problem is starting to come in where people are identifying any level of discomfort that they feel in a conversation, situation, or anything like that as trauma. And it just simply isn't. And I think when we overuse things like this, right, it's not only does it come across as attention seeking, but it also comes across in a way that's like, it waters down the validity and the seriousness of people that, are suffering from actual trauma responses. So when someone has an actual trauma response, I would assume that it's a medical thing, right? Like, you have trauma, your brain and your body respond in a certain way. So, for example, one of the things I have is I have what's called an exaggerated startle response, right? So basically, if you sneak up on me and I can't see your face, like, immediately when I turn around, I'm going to punch you. Like, that's just my initial response. Like, I come around, I come out swinging. And unfortunately, a lot of people with any level of discomfort are immediately jumping on this bandwagon or this idea that you know, they're suffering from like post-traumatic stress disorder or something, right? Without an actual proper diagnosis. Like they do like a ChatGPT lookup. It's like, well, I feel like this and I'm acting like this. It's like, yes, that sounds like post-traumatic stress. And then they turn around and start saying they have PTSD or some shit, right? And it's the problem is that there's so many people that are mislabeling emotional discomfort as harm. Emotional discomfort is an inevitable aspect of life, right? I mean, I feel like we as a cultist should probably understand this on a rather deeper level than perhaps other people, because of the fact that, you know, one of the things that the occult has brought to a lot of us is personal discomfort, like discomfort in looking inside of ourselves and, you know, seeing what things we need to work on for ourselves to become better people. And so this idea that, you know, anything that is emotionally discomfort is harm or harmful, I think it's too much coddling to people and stopping people from being able to actually grow and expand out. You know, Discomfort is a great YouTube channel. Yeah, you've talked about that before.
Big discomfort and yes theory. Both are about putting yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable to try to determine how you would react and how you can grow, with the thinking that you can't grow if you're not at some sort of discomfort. It's a great place to get some information.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. You know, so it's just like, I feel like entitlement kind of starts masquerading as sensitivity, right? Like, so it's like this whole thing is like, oh, your content made me feel something, so therefore you attacked me, right? Or like somebody you had on your show said this, and because I disagree with them, you're platforming somebody that like is, you know, I find to be a bad person, and you know, that's a direct attack towards me. And it's like,
Mm,
it's like you're not the center of the fucking universe, man. It's like, you know, it's like not everything I do or anything anyone does has anything to do with you. I don't watch somebody's video and disagree with it and say, oh, well, that has to do with me. That attacks me. It's like, motherfucker doesn't even know me, man. Like, you know.
I always figured if people don't want to or don't like the specific content that you have, that they just cannot watch. But it says more about them if it's I come to your channel and the first thing I see I don't like and I don't watch, that's one thing. But if I come to the channel and I generally like 80%, 60%, whatever of what's happening, and then there's one thing that I don't like, then the first response really should be, why don't I like that? I have a very strong feeling about that. I'm not going to change how I feel. I'm going to share my thoughts on that, not to dip out and be like, I'm not watching it because you're platforming somebody that has a different opinion. I say it all the time. I'm like, I don't agree with these people. Like, I'll say a phrase or a statement, or I'll bring up something that I read, because I will read stuff that I don't agree with. Uh, and I will say, I don't agree with this at all, but this is what this person says. What are your thoughts on it?
And that's what I hope for. That's the hope that I have by bringing on such an eclectic, you know, variety of people across these podcasts, is that
Like, I don't
go ahead.
I don't like I don't like the I'm going to bring up a topic that we haven't touched on our show, but one of your other ones. I don't like animal sacrifice. I don't think it's necessary unless the intended ending is to cook and eat said animal. I don't, and I vehemently disagree with it. But I'm not going to stop watching because somebody else expressed their opinion. I'm not going to go watch that person's stuff. That's not my thing. But they have every right. Unfortunately, they have every right to do that.
Yeah, so I think what the funny thing is so where a lot of like where the whole pro-Trump thing came from, right? So there's a clip. So I intentionally took the clips from the J.S. Garrett interview that were the most offensive ones. Like I did that intentionally, right? Because there's a lot of offensive shit that man had said I was just like, dude, I'm
Yeah,
just gonna put it out there.
offensive isn't illegal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think the one that everyone rallied around and blew up about was when he started talking about abortion, because there was a question in the chat that asked, do you think that abortion clinics or abortion is being used as like satanic ritual or satanic human or baby sacrifice or some shit like that, something like along those lines, right? I don't even remember verbatim what the question was, and I just let him fucking roll with it. Like, I thought he was going to say no, but he comes out and he's like, yeah, man, like, I don't doubt that there's probably some motherfuckers out there that, are using that as like, some way to fucking do this and do that. And I'm like, okay. I mean, you know, but like the problem is because it was a clip, no, they didn't go and watch the whole thing. They didn't see the whole context. They just saw like a minute and a half clip, right? People are fucking losing their shit over it, right? They're like, well, if you don't have a uterus, then you should shut the fuck up or whatever the hell. And I'm just like, obviously they're not talking to me, they're talking to him. But the problem is I guess people thought that J.S. Garrett is me, and I'm sorry, I think I'm a much more handsome man than that. No offense, J.S.
Right.
No offense, man, but I'm very vain, and I think I look good.
You're so vain.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, I think and just kind of on that topic without getting political about it, I do believe, and I'll share my personal opinion, I think abortion is wrong. At any point, I just do. It's how I feel. I think if I had a uterus, I would feel that way, but I don't. So even though I have an opinion, and I think my opinion is valuable, I still can't tell a woman what to do with her body. That's where it stops. It doesn't matter. It does matter what I think. My opinion should matter, um, but it shouldn't be the deciding factor for what somebody does with their own body. It just, to me, it can't. Um, and that's where I draw the line for me,
Yeah.
because I have opinions on a lot of shit that I have no business having an opinion on. So I'm not going to force somebody to do something, and I'm not going to legislate it either or try to push for it. I'm just not going to do it.
Well, I mean, the way that I
Right?
look at it,
I don't want anybody to get gay married.
right? No, well,
Get straight married. But leave my fucking gay married alone.
So, the way that I look at it is I'm in the same boat as you. And so is Dyra. Like neither of us agree with abortion. But there's this understanding here that the only interaction that matters about abortion is the interaction between myself and Dyra. Like those
Yep. And
that's the
your
only
doctor.
time it matters.
Yep. I know people who have had an abortion, and I do not think any less of them because they had to do what's right for them. I don't think they're bad people. I don't think that just because somebody does something bad that they're automatically, or that I call bad, makes them bad people. And I don't even call that bad. Like that's not the way I think about it. But
Yeah, like I'm not going
I
to
don't
sit
know.
here and tell other people that they shouldn't have an abortion or that it's immoral or this or whatever, regardless of whether I agree with it or not. Like, I mean, you feel like you need to go do that, then fucking
And
do what you got to do. But the only conversation that matters to me is the conversation that I have with my wife as to whether or not that is something that is a viable option in situations, and we both agree that it isn't. And so
yeah,
that's it.
when you think about it, like discussing a dissenting opinion should be a discussion about a dissenting opinion in most cases. Um, it is not. Um, it is not something to take offense of. Now, I do take offense if somebody in certain things. There are some things to me that aren't up for debate, um, because of how I feel about human beings as a whole. Right? It's not up to debate for me that people should have equal access and equal rights to do the same thing, regardless of who they are. That people should be able to worship who they want to worship. That people should be able to learn what they want to learn and say what they want to say. That doesn't mean I can't be angry about it, have an opinion about it, or disagree with it. But when it comes to just the amount of people that get offended by something, I don't think they understand what offense means.
I don't think
You
so
know,
either. I don't think so either.
I usually will say, like, if somebody says something what most people would call offensive, I say I feel some kind of way about that. Can I? We need to talk about this some more because I don't think I understand what you're saying. You know, I want to know
Hmm.
more.
Well, like what I find offensive, like what I would say to me is offensive. Um, some of the things that happened in that documentary called "Don't Fuck with Cats," right, on Netflix, and most people have probably
Never,
seen that. You
never heard
know,
of it.
okay, so I mean, it's about this guy. I guess he's some Polish guy that like went viral for um, putting kittens inside of a bag and then sucking all the air out of the bag. Um, and then like there's this video that went around with this girl that had a bucket full of puppies and she was throwing them off of cliffs and shit. You know, that shit I find offensive. That offends me.
See, I don't even know that I call that offensive. That is so far past the word offensive to me. That's like I would go to jail to fuck you up.
No, I would too. Same here, 100%.
It's
But
like you're not offending me because it's not hurting my feelings. It's not causing me to feel a certain way. I was like, that's ethically wrong.
agreed. But it's like for me, those are the things that like I would find offensive. Like somebody's opinion doesn't,
Oh,
you know, really offend me. People can piss me off, but I don't think pissing me off is offending me.
yeah, I'm starting to think that like an offense is just a word that doesn't have meaning anymore. Now that we're talking about it, you know what I mean? Because it
Yeah,
doesn't convey any of the feelings that anything that we've talked about just now. None of them have come across to me as offensive.
yeah. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like,
To think about that.
yeah, because the thing is like, um, you know, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I don't think that I get offended by things. Like, I just, I feel passionately about stuff, and like, I'll, voice my opinion.
Hey Siri, define offense.
Need help? Go to
Breach of a
AI.
law, a thing that constitutes a violation of what is judged to be right or natural. Huh. Yeah. Judged to be right. Offensive is an opinion. That's what it is.
Pretty much.
I mean, really, if it's based on something that's judged to be right or natural, like people talk all the time about, well, two men together is not natural. I'm like, okay, I can show you if you want to see it in person, because it's pretty enjoyable for two people, and joy is natural. You might not like it. I don't recommend it for you if you don't. But yes, I'm starting to think that offense just is it's just a stupid word for opinion that makes people's buttholes pucker and clutch their pearls.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the whole thing with like all the podcasts that I do is like, I mean, to just have dissenting opinions, to have people with different ideas come on and express their shit, and then have a discussion about it. Like when you were talking about animal sacrifice, the only thing that I agreed with, really, that JS and I talked about was the idea of like, because both of us go hunting. And then when he talked about the possibility of using hunting in a way that, to perform sacrifice using the animal, and then obviously you're eating that meat, you know what I mean? You're doing all this stuff, you start not being wasted. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. I can't get
Agreed.
I can't get behind going to the store, buying a live chicken, bringing it home, and cutting its fucking head off, and then spilling the blood everywhere. I mean, that just seems pointless, useless, and just doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. But
It's,
you know,
to me, it's a waste of a creature that was created by the universe that creates us. And if a god wants me to sacrifice, this is opinion. This is it doesn't offend me, but it's an opinion, right? If my god doesn't, and goddess, gods, and I'm animistic, so everything has a soul and energy, even the road to me, which is weird, and talk about that some other day. But truly, if whatever I need to do to raise energy involves wasting a life that had that much energy in it without using it to further my life, it's that's no energy. That's not an energy exchange. To me, that's stealing. That's stealing somebody else's stuff and calling it a sacrifice. I can't. It's like me killing you and saying, "Oh, I'm sacrificing you." I'm like, I didn't sacrifice anything except my freedom when I get caught, right? Uh, the t- we talked about this before with sacrifice. I know that's not the topic, but and I'll leave it alone after this. But what I have learned and felt, and I don't know if anybody agrees with you, but the most, and you've said this before too, so I don't know if you still feel that way, but the absolute most valuable thing that you can do has nothing to do with blood or even tradition, even though I think that's powerful, and blood is too. But the most powerful thing is your dedicated time to that whatever it is you're doing.
I still
Like, there's
100% agree with
nothing
that
more
sentiment.
valuable than that.
Yeah.
You know?
Look, you don't get it back.
And your thought and your intent and taking the time to really engage it, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I mean,
Anybody can pull an animal and cut its head off and do whatever, but it does nothing to me for anything unless I'm going to make chicken teriyaki that night.
Yeah, I mean, I can see like through. I mean, just to kind of cap this off, like, I mean, I can see through lineage, like when we look at like Santeria and things like that. And like say Santeria because I live in Mexico, so it's like Santeria is something that I understand probably a little bit better than most because I live right next to it all the time. I can see through the lineage and how it is done through Santeria, animal sacrifice, and kind of like I don't want to say science, but I guess you could say kind of like the meta science of it. There's a release of energy that is captured after the death of an animal that is used in ritual. And so, do I think that animal sacrifice can provide energy in a ritual? Yes. Does that mean I would do it? No. Does that mean that there are no better ways to get that energy into a ritual or into your magic? No, it does not. There are significantly easier ways, I believe, to channel that same level of energy, in a ritual and in magical working without having to kill an animal for it.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Raise the energy, but don't waste the life. That's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. Now, dude, the next time I go hunting, am I going to try that? Like where, right before, I shoot a deer, am I going to say that, try to dedicate that kill to something? Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely going to try that because, I mean, I've been hunting since I was 7. So fuck. I mean, why not? 2 birds, 1 stone, right?
Yeah. What skill do they teach hunters, right? You find a use for everything and you respect
Mm-hmm.
that thing has come before us with all of the energy that it had to create its life. You've got an animal that's years old, all of the stuff that it had to take in to secure that energy for itself. You don't waste that.
100%. 100%. So,
That
and it's,
that's frustrating.
it is. So, bringing it back on track, though, and I do think that this would probably be a good topic for you and I to kind of talk about maybe like, next week when you're sitting down and not rolling around in a vehicle running from the cops.
They haven't caught us yet.
Right. It's that Tesla, man. They see that T and it's like, oh, no, that's not them.
It's funny.
So, I think another thing that's kind of fucking with people and causing problems is kind of like algorithms, man. Fucking social media encourages people to interpret everything through a personal lens, and it's destroying people's attention span. So people don't research anymore. They watch a clip, which is like a headline. Like if you think about it, a short, when I do a long form video like tonight, what we're doing right now, which is an hour-long show, right? And I break this down into shorts. I'm not breaking things down into shorts because that's the full context of what's being talked about. I'm breaking things down into shorts because it's like a headline for a section inside of the podcast, right? It's to encourage you to go watch the whole fucking thing. But what happens is our attention spans are so fucked because of social media that people don't bother looking for context. They take the headline and then they run with it. And when they find out that they fucked up, then they just don't say anything. And it seems to be a repeated pattern in everyone's behavior. And I'm not talking just the left. I'm not talking just the right. I'm not talking just occultists. This is just something everyone does. This isn't political. This isn't spiritual. This is just psychology at work. Everyone is doing the same fucking thing. We watch a short, we catch the headline, and then we run with it without understanding or knowing the full context of something. You know? And it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that we've come to this point in our existence where we are incapable of typing in a question in Google and doing some research and some reading.
Yeah. It just any type of compiling information from some type of source, it changes how you perceive something when you really kind of go through it. And it's not hard. But it does take work, and very few people, I think, are willing to do that. I mean, I include myself in that. I at least 2 nights in this past week, I have doom scrolled on Facebook to the point where I was falling asleep at 2 in the morning, dropping my phone on my face. I'm like, I was getting angry at some of the things that I'm seeing on Facebook and looking at all these responses and thinking, how the fuck can people think this? And I'm like, 2 things happened. One is, why the hell do I care? Because it's not directly affecting me right now. It's 2 in the morning. There's nothing I can do about it. And part 2, I bet half of those people don't even really feel that way.
Yeah, I think
it's easy, so easy to just put something out there and be done with it when it's not even the real truth of how you feel about something. I've caught myself doing it.
Yeah, same. I've done it. Like, you know, it's that whole mass hysteria thing. You know, like, you know, mass hysteria is a thing. Like, we see, you know, a group that we slightly align with start going off the wall on something, and we kind of want to join in, right? You know, and then it doesn't help with the way algorithms work. So an algorithm. So we talk about algorithms in the way of like growing content, right? As content creators. So like, us as content creators, the aspect of the algorithm that we focus on is slightly different than a consumer of content. We focus on, okay, what can we put out there that is going to, you know, push our content or explode our content with relevant, you know, what's relevant in the algorithm currently. A consumer algorithm is designed to keep you on the platform as long as possible because everything is advertising dollars. So the more advertisements you consume, the more money everyone involved makes, right? You're the product. You're not the consumer. You are the product. And so what algorithms do on a consumer end is they continually algorithms break down on such a microscopic level everything you do on a piece of content. If you stay on a content for half a second longer than you stayed on the previous content, you're going to start getting more of that content, right? And the algorithm is designed, okay, to feed content similar to your own emotional patterns, reinforcing how you already feel. An algorithm is not designed to show you a dissenting opinion and say, well, maybe you should think about this. It's like, no, well, this person likes this, so let's show them more, right? And it is designed to create and maintain a permanent and perpetual echo chamber of ideas and thought patterns.
Because money.
Exactly, because money, right? And so you cannot watch TikTok, watch Facebook, watch Instagram and take it like the fucking news. You can't do that because you're just looking at headlines. Think about it. Think about the baseline of Instagram, right? Instagram used to be an artistic platform. And then people started using it as just kind of like, you know, an online photo album. They started uploading, you know, the happy moments of their lives. Do you actually believe unequivocally that the people that you're looking at online, that they actually live their lives that way, that their lives are like that all the time? It's a highlight reel, which is what? A fucking headline. It's the big fucking text at the top that looks nice. It's not the full story, right? The happiness and the joy and all of this stuff that you see online is not everything that exists. People like me, for example, one of the things that I get fed all the time is productivity apps, right? Because I'm obsessed with productivity. I'm obsessed with streamlining my tasks. I'm obsessed with, you know, making things, just easier and more conducive to what it is that I'm trying to do, right? I try to streamline everything. And so you ever notice that there's all of these fucking pages that talk about, whether it's your exercise routine, your diet, what applications you're using, your fucking to-do app, right? All of these things get thrown into your face. Why? Because and it's because it's trying to sell you that, like, well, your life will be perfect if you use this thing. If you paid money for this thing, right? Your life would be perfect. You wouldn't forget tasks anymore. You wouldn't fuck up at your job anymore. And all of it is to instill fear, right? Everything is fear related. How is everything fear related? It is fear related because it's essentially like, I remember Manson said in Bowling for Columbine, like, it's like, buy the fucking Clearasil to get rid of the zits, because if you have zits, the girl won't fuck you, type of thing. Like that's the fear, right? It's fear marketing, fear marketing, fear marketing. And it is a perpetual cycle that has existed since I was a fucking kid and significantly before that. I mean, it falls into the old school communist propaganda fucking posters, right? Or like fucking Uncle Sam wants you, right? Like it falls into that, right? Like, if you don't join the army, like everyone's gonna fucking die, right? Type of thing. It's fear marketing, fear marketing. That's what it is. And unfortunately, the occult community falls into the same thing, right? And it's especially difficult with the occult because the occult community often valorizes emotional intensity because of what we're talking about. Like, there is a lot of passion behind the stuff that we do. So it makes it harder for us to distinguish genuine trauma from, like, ego bruising and, like, what's real and what's just out there to try to get you to spend some money, right? And it's just sad, man. And I think that that's where this problem, this thing that I talked about at the beginning, why it inspired this type of episode, because I feel like there's so much more behind that. Like, I'm a little irritated with it, but I don't necessarily hate or blame the person for feeling the way that they feel. But I feel like it is the current climate of things around us that are making it so our peers aren't even talking to us, right? Like, my thing is, if you have a question or doubt about my content, like you said, Mystic, like, voice your opinion, right? Say your thing. There's a reason why you're following me to begin with. So if there's something that you disagree with, voice your opinion. I don't think I've ever come across as someone that doesn't value someone else's idea or someone else's opinion. And I've always been open, or tried to be open, to allow people to have that voice, on my channel, whether that's on a live with me or, in the comments section. It doesn't mean I'm going to be nice to you. It depends on how you come at me, right? Like I said, I'm not a nice person. I'm a good person, I think, but I'm not a nice person. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what we're kind of like, what we're fighting with right now is kind of like this algorithmic ego kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no matter how you look at it, every single thing that we process, even non-occult stuff, like, yeah, it's all designed under the what's the right word? The visage of, be communicative, have all the information at your fingertips. But its truth is it's all about money and control. And I have found how much more valuable my life is when I'm using social media like YouTube to have discussions. we've talked about this a few times on, our show about how um, I it's not valuable to me to do this without hearing people's opinions and ideas. Like I would never it's not like a preacher, for example, who's and I sorry, but most of them are like this. They're there to tell you what they think. They're not there to hear what you think because they're the expert. I might be an expert in some things, but I'm not here to tell you anything about a cult or life. I'm here to learn myself and to maybe work together with other people to figure shit out as a group. You can't do that on Facebook. You can't do that on Threads. You can't do that on X. All you can do is hem and haw and argue back and forth because you've taken out all of the human parts of that conversation.
Yeah, man. Like,
So
I'm
this
100%.
this is why I do the shows. This is why I come on here. This is why I watch YouTube. It's why I'm on Discord all the time by myself, hoping somebody will hop in and hang out for a bit because I need that interaction because that to me is where the real magic happens. That's where we change our minds. That's where we think. And I'll be fully honest. I can say about 20% of the people I know actually think about things anymore. The rest of it is just rote. They left foot, right foot, no process of information.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean,
All 20% of those are occultists too, because we tend to try to do that more.
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, critical thinking is something that, it's a lost art. It really is.
Mhm.
Like,
Just thinking, it doesn't have to be critical anymore. Just think. Start there. Get
yeah, well, I
critical
mean,
later.
the whole idea with critical thinking was the idea of like you look at this side of an argument, you look at that side of an argument, and then you formulate your own fucking opinion that doesn't have to agree with either argument.
Or you argue against yourself to try to change your own opinion. That's my favorite thing to do. I believe A, you believe B. All right, well, let's see. How can I get my, what would I do if I believed B? How would that look for me? And then either my opinion is strengthened or it's weakened and it changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
But no,
100%.
we don't think. We
No.
just want to consume. We are absolute 100% consumers as a whole, as a unit, as a country, as a people, a humanity. We are consumers and we want to just keep consuming. And I'm like, you got to shit it out at some point.
100%. 100%, man. Like, I mean, I'm getting to a point now with social media, like, yeah, I'll jump on my phone here and there, but like, I really don't want to consume content on social media anymore. Like, I'll make my content and I'll put my stuff out there and our stuff out there, but I really don't want to be a part of it because as much as I hate to say this, and I can't think of a better way to say this, maybe you have better words for it, but I have such a hard time processing the idea that, you know, between millennials and Gen Z and probably, unfortunately, Gen Alpha, you know, are the three generations with the most information available to them at their fucking fingertips. And they are some of the stupidest fucking people, the most ignorant people that you can try to sit down and have a conversation with. It's like you have all of this information at your fingertips, and the only thing you're worried about are twerking videos.
Yeah, and see, I don't know that I can go that far in it to say that because we are the ones that created that. And they have nothing to compare it against. So we have failed by trying to explain and get that point across, you know? So I don't know that I would go as far as, and that's just me because I'm probably trying to be too nice, but I won't say that they're stupid, but they certainly don't have anything to look forward to. And
Yeah.
if you don't have anything to look forward to, then life's pretty shitty.
Well, this is why I left it open for you to kind of like reword it, right? Because it's like I can't think of another way to say it. And I know it's not the best way to say it, and I know it's not a nice way to say it. And like I said, I'm not a nice person, but you know, it's it's you know that's why I kind of left it open. It's like maybe you can say this better than I can. It's
Well, the problem
one
is
of the
it's still true to a degree.
right? You know, one of the things that, you know, Dyer and I are doing is like we cut out ordering apps. Like we're actually gonna like we have like, you know, fresh fruits and veg like around the corner from the house and a pharmacy and like, you know, stores that are pretty local and close to us. So one of the things that we're actually going to start doing, like back in the fucking 90s, like if we want to go buy something, we're going to actually get off our asses, walk down the street and buy it in person, you know, instead of ordering off of a fucking app. Why? To touch grass. That's why, you know. Can't you now no longer need to pay the service charges and delivery fees? You know, so it's just like, yeah, like, I don't know, man. It would just be nice to see people. I think people, especially in my age bracket, like what I guess what some people would call Zennials or elder millennials or whatever. I think we also are in a very, you know, weird generational gap because the thing is I'm old enough to remember rotary phones, but young enough to where, you know, a smartphone doesn't scare the shit out of me, right? Like where I love technology, I love software, you know, I'm a geek, you know, I love doing all of this shit, audio, video, you know, graphic design, all this stuff. So it's like I'm in a weird spot where I can remember all of that stuff. Like that's before we were connected all the time. I can remember needing to use a payphone. Whereas most people younger than me have like, they look at like a payphone like it's like some like
Yeah.
dystopian fucking technology, you know?
Yeah. You know, they have an attachment you can put on your cell phone to make it like an old push button phone like they used to have in your rooms when we were
Yeah.
teenagers. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. However you look at it, just the world is going the way that it's going, and I don't think there's anything we can do to change it. It's just there's going to have to be a period of adaptation, and there's going to be a lot of disappointed people.
Yeah, no. Like, I mean, I'm worried about AI at this point. Like, I mean, I can understand that AI as a tool has a lot of benefits to it, and I do use AI like for a lot of things, because it's a tool and it's the direction things are going. And unfortunately, it's like what happened with traditional graphic designers that, you know, did things with their hands, and then when graphic design went digital, you know, they're like, oh, that's not actual graphic design, right? AI is the next step in that, right? AI is the next thing that people are fighting against that is inevitably going to, you know, take over how we do things. And it's either you fight against it and you get left behind, or you learn how to use it and learn the advantages of it to complement what you do, or nobody's going to be interested in you in the coming market.
Yeah. I will tell you, my thoughts on AI have recently changed or are changing. I am slightly afraid of AI, but it's not going anywhere. So we have to figure out how we're going to utilize it in a way that's going to be helpful because it's here
Yeah. I mean, my
and it's
big
going to
thing
get
is like,
worse.
I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm not joking. Like when people thought it was funny when I would say this, but I didn't. I never said this jokingly. I was very serious. Like with the amount of money that is being invested into artificial intelligence, I just kind of sit there and I go, like, did Terminator teach you motherfuckers nothing? Did like iRobot teach you nothing? Did the fucking Matrix teach you nothing? Like, yes, we're probably 50 years from that, possibly. But
I don't think so. It's closer than we want.
well, the thing is it's our own arrogance in thinking that the guardrails that we're putting in place are enough, right? It's
Yeah,
like somebody putting up
that's cute.
sandbags for a tsunami and then the fucking water just going over the sandbags. You know, it's just kind of like I don't know, like it's not going anywhere, and I try to be polite, but I don't know if that's going to make a fucking difference. Like.
No, not likely.
So, yeah. Anyway, guys, Mystic and Rook just got home, so they're gonna need some time to chill and settle in. And we've been on for a little over an hour. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are fucking awesome. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
Deuces.